Yeah, that's cool, man. So how now what's interesting about you is you chose to focus on the racism aspect of dating, and which most people, by the way, they kind of leave that out. They don't want to talk about that. They don't want to talk about anything controversial, religion, all the taboo subject. They not even money so much. A lot of dating coaches kind of want to stay away from the controversial stuff. They just want to focus on the social things, like you should dress right, you get a nice haircut, you should smell good, look good, feel good before you go on the date. They never want to talk about the psychology behind, dating a man and woman. So why did you choose to focus on that aspect?
Well, it was literally in my pen name, Asian Playboy, right? That was what I called my blog, because being Asian is important to me. I'm not one of those kind of guys that's like, oh, I'm not Asian, all that kind of stuff. And then the aspect of the Playboy lifestyle, like actually going out there, having fun, being good with girls. And that juxtaposition of those two, Asian Playboy really bewildered people. And it was like something that you don't see every day. And you don't see this in the media a lot of times. And so it was a little bit of happenstance where, it kind of met this perfect storm where growing up, a lot of us Asians, we don't have a lot of male role models. Like if I was to ask someone, what's a famous Asian person to you? The majority of people are going to say Bruce Lee, right? I love Bruce Lee. Oh, shit! I fucking love Bruce Lee. He's the man. Yeah. But the man's been dead for 50 years.
Yeah.
Right? Who else is there to, role model for us? And, I am someone that is, realistic, optimistically realistic, where, yes, dressing nice, speaking well, presenting yourself with confidence can win the day a lot of the times. But we live in America and race is an issue. Yeah. Anyone that says racism doesn't exist, I don't know what to tell you. It definitely exists, right?
Yeah.
And so, I leaned into it because if I didn't see the positive change in the world that I wanted to see, then I had to be that change itself. So yeah, I was not afraid of leaning into that, whereas a lot of other people, were running away, as you rightly pointed out.
Yeah. Yeah. I always say, that's one of the main reasons why I started talking about it, because you can't really get away from racism. You, in business, you can't job, you can't get away from it. At some point, it's going to come up, and either y'all going to talk about it or y'all just going to move on. And that's usually not really two options. But
sorry.
Yeah, go ahead.
No, I was about to say what's interesting is, as I've done more international programs, so we have our Euro tour and our Latin tour, the racism exists everywhere, right?
Yeah.
But it's less pronounced overseas than here in America.
Oh yeah.
There are places in Europe or even in Latin America where girls would stop and ask us if we were K-pop celebrities because of the way we were dressed and stuff like that, right? And it just it just kind of feels good, where here in America, at best, we're neutral. At work, I was raised in the South, so I got called, I got picked on, I got beat up for being Asian, right?
Texas.
So Dallas, for sure. So overseas, racism is less of an issue for sure.
Yeah. I've been to Japan and Korea, a lot, that side of the world. So yeah. I would say, just socially speaking, if you're good here in America, any place else, you'll be
this is playing in the championship league, right? This is the NBA. Everyone else is what you call the D League.
Yeah, this is the wild.
You can be good in a big city like LA, New York, or something like that. You'll be good anywhere.
Oh yeah, that's one thing I always tell people. I say, if you're good here, like New York, LA, Chicago, Houston, Miami, those cities like that, you can go to some place like the UK and you can clean up.
It's competition is fierce. You got to be able to step up your game or you're going to get washed out for sure.
Yeah. So that's usually how it go, man. It's not fair, but I always tell people, man, the more you look at things for what it is, how it is, the better off you'll be. Now, you don't have to like everything. Of course, I don't like a whole lot of things, but I just you save so much time if you just find ways to go around it and look at things for what it is. You know what I mean?
Yeah, as I say, you know, if you're not cheating, you're not trying hard enough, right? Like the system is not set up to help out like the normal guy, like the little guy. So you got to figure out a way to hack the system.
Yeah, exactly. You know, so now it's one thing to say that, hey, you know, I'm good at doing what I'm doing in my own personal life and everything. But how did you have the confidence that, hey, you know, I can help other guys do this? You know, because, you know, sometimes some people, you might, regardless of whatever your profession is or whatever skill set you might have, they might be great at doing whatever they're doing. But when it comes to other helping other people, yeah, they not so much. It just depends on the person. So how'd you know, was there a sign that, hey, you know, I can do this for a long time? You know, how did you know?
Yeah. So, I mean, that's a great question, because in any kind of coaching, it's not like there's a high barrier of entry, right? Anybody can get in and be like, I'm a life coach, I'm a dating coach, right? For me, because I never set out to be that, I kind of took a different route. And again, going back to the high school student and the mom, I felt a lot of responsibility, as if this was literally my little brother, right? So the way I looked at it is like, he needs training wheels because he's only 18. So he's got to have training wheels. So I'm going to teach him what to say. But at the same time, because he is a teenager, I can't lock him into being like a social robot, right? I had to give him enough tools, but enough flexibility for him to grow into. So I was thinking, like, what is the easiest way to teach? And the thing is, I was like a spacecraft systems engineer, like literally like spacecraft systems, right? Which is the idea of taking very complex subjects and breaking them down into subsystems. So for example, if you have a rocket, I can't teach a person everything about a rocket. I got to teach them like the nose, the fuselage, the fins, the engine, the nozzle, and then you understand the whole thing. And so the way I thought of it is, what is an easy way to teach somebody? So we're just come up with a mnemonic device, an acronym, which is where the ABCs came in. So it's just A, B, C, D, E, F. It's just, you know the alphabet, you can figure this out, right? And so I came up with this idea of a holistic system where I teach like inner game, your thoughts and your emotions, how you manage your confidence, how you manage your anxiety, your physical game, how do you present yourself, your body language, your facial expressions, your tonality, your energy, the vibe that you give off, your sexual magnetism, if you will, and then your verbal game, what you actually say to the girl, right? So in that regards, I try to take a very well-rounded but structured way of teaching my student. And the teenage and the mom was like the test case scenario, because I wasn't teaching, young, good-looking guys to go out and fuck a lot of women. I was teaching like the mom and the teenage boy, right? So I felt a lot of responsibility to present a curriculum that was both serious, would help someone grow, but actually give him real-world advice that wasn't just based in theory. So I took my spacecraft systems knowledge, applied this with my own real-world, pickup knowledge that I had gained over the course of 4 years of intense practice of pickup, created ABCs, taught him, and last I talked to him, a few years ago, he's in college, he's being a doctor, and he's living with his college girlfriend. So I think something worked.
Yeah, man, that's great, man. But you're just like me. I never wanted to do any of this. I never wanted to, do videos, podcasts, anything like that. And now when I tell people that, people are shocked. Like, really? Like, no, I never wanted to do it. What happened is I had some old friends that told me, hey, just keep going. Just keep doing it.
Yeah. It's like sometimes like a calling. Sometimes it feels like a mission that you're actually serving people, and it's very rewarding, emotionally.
Yeah, it turned out to be that way. Sometimes I even I surprise myself. I'm like, because every once in a while, I get emails and people say, hey, I finally met the girl that I wanted. We're engaged and she's pregnant, and we have the date that we're gonna get married and everything. I'm like, oh, okay. Yeah. Like I've had my own success stories where one of my students that I taught, I had the honor of presiding over his wedding.